Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. As you can see, it is guitar day. Got a lot of gear set up here. I'm doing a little bit of guitar reamping / experimenting, trying to come up with some cool tones on this song. At the same time, I'm hashing out some new ideas now that I have the headlight to help me distribute sounds to multiple amps. I'm trying to work on some ideas for some upcoming projects and having a little fun. This probably won't be the only time I do this. Each time if I come up with some cool stuff, I'm gonna shoot another video. So first off, the center of this whole thing is the radial headlight. This is what is allowing me to take my reamp signal from Logic, which today is a clean tone. I'm going through the radial JCR, and that's my reamp box. That is feeding the headlight, and then the headlight is pushing out to the amps, the pedals, and everything else. So the headlight's cool because it's an ABY on steroids. It does the normal ABY thing, but you can also power up to 4 amps at the same time, which is great. It allows you to do a lot of cool combinations or go between them to pick a particular sound. If you were live, you could have, 2, 3, 4 amps or different sounds set up. You could just click between them, or you could have them all on at the same time. One thing I like about this is it also allows me to audition each source individually. So right now you can see I've got everything is on. I'm in the all on. You've got mute, and it'd be all mute, and you can switch through. Or you can go all on. When you click the all on off, it allows you to select what you have. I only have 3 coming in so far. Now for me, it's important if I'm out here in front of the amps, I'm trying to dial in tones. This allows me to call up one of the amps, make sure the sound is right, and then I can boom, go back to everything on, hear it in context. If I continue to need to tweak more, I can select that, or I could select a different rig, and then I can bring it all back on. My goal with this is I'm using all these things to create one sound. That's the goal. It's not, even though I'm going to track them separately, I'm really going for one kind of just fun and cool, unique tone. So the main setup is the Hughes & Kettner into the Behringer Shiva. That's being mic'd with the Roswell Pro Audio Colares. That is getting some of the Ultra Chorus, the UC200, and that is the main tone. And that sounds like, that's on channel 1 here, and that sounds like this. Now back in the ISO booth behind me, I have a little Polytone Mini Brute with an Electro Harmonix OD glove on it, just driving that a little bit. That is on output 3. I'll get to output 2 in a second, because that's where the fun stuff happens. And this is a filler for this. So here's what that tone sounds like. It's a little bit thicker, it's got a little bit of grit on it. The reason I put it in the ISO booth is because that room over there is dead. Dead. And I wanted that sound to be very focused, very dry. I wanted it completely separate from here. I didn't want any bleed, even though I have the doors open. It's very separate from these sounds. The only thing I use that for is it's kind of a thickener for the HK setup here. And on that amp in there is an Audio-Technica AT4081 ribbon mic. So that, and those are both going to be panned center. So those two sounds create one. Now, the fun stuff. Yeah. On the outsides, I have a little Fender, cheap Fender 212R, and over there I have a Behringer. Both of these are clean. I'm miking them with Audio-Technica AE3000s. I love those little condensers. I haven't used them on guitars in a long time, so I figured today I'd pop them out and try them out, and they're doing a fantastic job. Now the headlight out of output 2 is powering the Boss DD5. So I'm going in mono, as you can see right there, and I'm coming out stereo. So I'm sending one side over here to the Fender and the other side over to the Behringer. So here's what it sounds like on its own. These amps are just clean. Sounds just like the arpeggio. What I wanted to try to do is create something out on the fringes a little bit, so I used the DD5, and here's what I came up with. And I'm just trying to bend that around the main sound a little bit. Now, when I started all this, I didn't have that in my head. I actually got this out here. I knew I wanted some sort of stereo delay on the outside, but I got my main sound first, and then I just sat in front of this with the DD5 and I just started kind of tweaking things, and then I would use the headlight to kind of click back and forth between the sounds so I could dial it in. And I kind of like that reverse thing, the way it kind of just envelopes and develops around the tone in the middle. So what does all this sound like together? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with just our main tone with the chorus on it, and then I'm gonna kick everything on, okay? So you can hear how you've got that, there is that centered tone, but it kind of fills in around the sides. So that's the basic part of the setup. Comes out to the JCR reamp, goes to the headlight, and then the headlight distributes to the pedals and to the amps. Now let's go have a listen to what it sounds like with the drums, bass, and other guitars in. Like I said a few minutes ago, I am recording each of these amps on their own track. Even though they're ultimately coming together to create one overall sound, I'm going to print them on their own track. So I have a track for the chorus guitar. I have two tracks, one left and right of the delay guitars. And then the fourth track is the Mini Brute that's in the ISO over here with the OD glove on it. I'll balance them out the way I want to hear them, and then it's just one sound. So our drums, bass, and rhythm guitars on this track sound like this. You might recognize this track. We've used it a few times on the live stream. This has some of the distortion stuff we printed on the drums. It also has the reamp I did with the DIY RE reamp box, and we have some other guitars to put on this later. All right, here's everything together. Nice tail. So you can hear the delay is just kind of out on the left, far left and right fringes that kind of bend around the electric guitars, the rhythm guitars that are already there. Now, if I turn those off, check out what happens if I'll start with everything on and then I'll kill the delays. That delay has a pretty big effect on the overall sound. If you turn them off, obviously it creates a lot more space. And if you were doing vocals or other things, maybe you'd want that. But in this case, I like the movement. I was thinking more of an overall designed effect that would just kind of always be there and moving around. So I thought that was cool. And here's what just the delays sound like by themselves. So even just that's kind of cool. You could kill the center. I mean, the cool thing is you could actually get maybe 2 or 3 different variations of this, all with just these same sounds right here. Now, one thing I mentioned before is how I'm using the amp, the Mini Brute with the OD glove in conjunction with the HK and the chorus on it. So let's just take a listen to the chorus, and then we'll listen to the Mini Brute and we'll put them together so you can see how it's just like a thickener, really. So chorus. Mini Brute. Now I'll turn the Mini Brute on after a couple bars. So you still get the chorus effect and everything, but you get a little bit of body from adding that mini brute in, and I am only using a little bit of it actually, but it gives a little bit of size. So the goal today for me was to get something cool for this track, because we're kind of adding a bunch to it in one of these, probably another live stream, we'll go through all these different ideas that we had at one point. But I also wanted to experiment using that headlight with some different combinations of amps in a way that I couldn't do before, when I could only send things out really 2 channels to different amps. Now that I can go up to 4, there's quite a bit I can do, and probably change some pedals out and that sort of thing. But to me, this is also a lot of fun, because the experimenting a lot of the times, especially right now there's no pressure because this is a song of mine, even though I'm trying to develop some ideas for some upcoming recordings, I can kind of just go in the room and just plug stuff in and move stuff around, try different combos. When I was setting up, I actually had several different mics up. I ended up going with these because I hadn't used it in this combo in a while. I tried a couple different delays. I even tried some distortion with the delays, but ultimately I decided, since the rhythm guitars had the distortion on them, that I'd leave that stuff out on the fringes, the left and right delay amps. I'd leave it clean, so it kind of stuck out more. But I even had it running through some outboard reverb. I think the only thing that I'm actually doing to any of this beyond what's in there is the chorus amp. The HK is getting some Hairball Audio Blue Stripe just to make it sit. The OD Glove is getting, I'm running that through something, I can't, oh, that is going through the, the Day King. And the left and right delay amps are going through the Heritage Audio Successor. And that's it. So everything's just getting like containment, compression, just to even it so it sits and you hear all the notes. Because sometimes the higher notes tend to come out a little bit more, and I just wanted to balance that out a little bit. And that's all I'm doing beyond what's in there. Anyway, here's our track. Enjoy for a second, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, everybody.